All right, so let's, for example, assume that I'm at the end of my project. I've pushed out all of my scenes, and I want to start compiling into After Effects. Sorry, into Premiere. So I'm going to import a number of scenes, okay? So for example, I have a mid-range shot, right? So I've got something called like scene 1 mid, scene 1 tight, scene 1 wide, right? Look how gigantic these files are. Look, 4.5 gigs. It's because I'm pushing out to my hard drive, not to my computer, high res HD 1920 by 1080, right? The native default that we're all working in, and it's pushing out a ton of information. So when I put these files into Premiere, I got to make sure that these are stored somewhere safe in my hard drive, right? And I don't move them ever, because now I'm importing them into Premiere, and if I move them, then I reopen Premiere and Premiere says something went wrong, right? So here you can see 3 scenes, but they're all the same scene, right? 3 cuts, 3 takes. I've got a tight that I like to put on top, a medium, and a wide. And they should all be exactly the same length, right? Because they're the same scene. And what I can do, at this point I know to export these other 2 without audio, just because I don't need 3 of the same audio, right? And what I can do is I can zoom in and I can I can start to cut some interesting takes, right? So let me start wide, right? One of these is connected to the audio. So what I need to do is disconnect that, right, by locking this audio and then just doing something to this video that's connected to the audio. And now when I unlock it, it should, yeah, it let go of it. So I could start by, let's, start with a wide shot. And then why don't we fade in, right? So my tools are right here. I've got a selection tool, a razor to chop things up, right? Chop, chop, chop. I'll undo that. And this pen tool that helps me, if I hover here and scroll with my mouse, I can make each audio or video layer bigger until I see a rubber band. And that's when I can start playing with things like fading in.
Absolutely.
I could do the same thing with audio if I scroll a little bigger to get the... Right.
Absolutely. We have.
And then I just start having fun and cutting things. I have to lock this audio to play with this.
As you will be aware,
and then I'll do a medium shot. I just got to make sure I don't do something like... Notice what I'm doing here is I'm waiting for this bracket to show up. So I'm not accidentally taking this and going like that. If I move it, then what I do is I take it and I move it out of sync.
That has largely.
So it's now out of sync. So I have to make sure that You know, I'm moving things correctly.
Which is Britain's move to leave the European Union. And that has largely been fueled by a rise in xenophobia, anti-migrant sentiment.
Can you guys hear this video at all?
Yes, you can hear it.
Okay, because I'm not using headphones or my microphone. So if I wanted this piece to scoot back, what I would do is I would just cut it right here and scoot it, right? So when when this bracket pops up, I'm not taking any of this out of sync.
Fueled by a rise in xenophobia, anti-migrant sentiment, racism, and a fair bit of what we've seen.
Okay, so this is a professor at Cambridge. This is Richard Florida, professor, University of Toronto. And, you know, I'm interviewing them in this setup, and I'm trying to make it dynamic, right? I'm trying to make a long stretch of dialogue into something visually compelling, right? And that's what you guys are going to do too. And so when you push out, like I've said, with your virtual camera, and that's in the tutorial right before this at the beginning, you can stack multiple scenes and then make it like a director, right? You're sort of like a TV director in a sitcom, you know, think about like Seinfeld with multiple cameras, but everybody's sort of in this two-dimensional, you know, limited space. But within that space, you can explore it, you can zoom in. Remember, we have vector-based graphics that we're drawing with, so you know, you can see everything here is crystal clear. And stuff that isn't, I'm deciding to add, you know, that I added a blur. But when I come wide, I take all the blurs off, so it's clear. You know, sort of like how a real camera operates, right? Any questions so far about moving things, right? My selection tool, my razor tool, my pen tool. Is that all pretty obvious? So the next thing would be adding supporting audio, right? So birds in the sky, you know, with the sound of wind, the sound of cars, the sound of anything, you know, doors opening. What I recommend for you there is a service called Free SFX. And I'll put this on our folio, but basically it has, you know, everything, and this is all royalty free. So, you know, if you needed elephants, you got a few elephants to choose from, right? And it goes on and on and on. Noise effects, okay, we've got plenty of music and sound effects, all royalty free. You just sign up with your email. It doesn't cost anything. Then what you do is you start stacking your audio down here, right? File import your audio, drag it, put it where you need it to go. I do this with you know, old-timey Looney Tunes sound effects to, you know, to make these sort of serious animations more light and, you know, funnier. So, for example, let's see what we got. We got exports of exports? No. like this cat is going to do some gruesome stuff.
You can activate feelings of emotional warmth. Ah, yeah, there it is. I knew I was feeling this thing. Oh, hi, Kyle White. How are you today?
All right, so you just ripped off this bird's head. It's very gruesome, but with some funny sound effects. You know, I'm trying to lighten it. And I have those stored from, you know, finding them over the years, and I have a cache of sound effects that I go to. But you can do that too. You can build your own database of, you know, if you need a frog, if you need whatever. That's where I would start. Okay. So that covers some basic cuts, transitions, layering, layering audio. Same thing applies, you know, if I scroll in and unlock this, I can adjust audio levels, okay? Now, I'm not gonna get into effects because I don't want you guys to get too confused or too deep in this right now. We're just working in Toon Boom, moving your virtual camera forward or back if you want to push out multiple camera angles, takes, and putting these, lining them up in Premiere, and then getting some supporting audio throughout. Like if you wanted wind, it doesn't make sense for you to put wind in each of the Toon Boom timelines. You would just put one big one here, right? Or whatever. Okay. Does that make sense?
Sorry. The way that I've been doing it, I used a like a how do I say this, color that had transparency in it to add the shadows, just because I didn't know about the transparency mode.
Yeah.
So, and at the end of this, it's very like, you know, sharp, and that's not usually how shadows work. So how would I add the blur to?
Show me that layer by itself so I can see what's happening.
Okay,
You can turn off the other eyeballs. There you go. Okay. So what do you want blurred? All of it or just part of it?
I want the edges blurred so that it's not as harsh.
Try. Let me see. It looks like you have a blur on there. Go.
Yeah, I just put it on.
Okay. Go down. What you do is just type a 1 where that 0 is and hit enter. See what it looks like. Click that 0.
Oh, sorry.
Just do a 1 and hit enter. Now you can't see the effect without going into render view. Yep. And then you can zoom in to 100%. Now zoom in. Yeah, there you, yeah. Now do 5 in the radius instead of 1. Are you on the right layer?
I believe so.
Oh, turn the eyeballs of the blur on.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
So now you can start playing with the intensity. Maybe you want to bring it down. I don't know. Maybe you like that, but.
Okay.
So turn all of your eyeballs on now, and let's look at your room. And.
Sorry, I have a drawing.
Yeah, it's okay, but. Yeah, cool. It's happening, right? Nice.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just make sure you turn off your render view just so you can work faster. But yeah, that's how you see it. Anybody else? Okay. All right, let's go back into work mode.